everybody. Welcome back to Teachers Talk. I'm your host, Pelisa Mugavazi, and this podcast is where conversations go beyond the staff room. On today's episode, I'm really excited. We are speaking AI, we are speaking innovation, we are speaking young vibes, we are speaking bold and beautiful young teachers. And we have on the show our beautiful guest, our bold guest, a gentleman who is in the space and making big moves. Karabo Ramoshaba. How are you?
Yes, I'm good. How are you, Pelissa, and
I'm good.
everyone else?
I'm good. Welcome.
Thank you so much for
Thank you
having
for
me.
gracing us with your presence.
Thank you so much.
All right. So we're going to go straight into it. With the first question, obviously, just you introducing yourself to the world,
Yeah,
to the teaching space. How did it start? Why teaching?
yeah.
And yeah, just brief us with that. How did it start? How did your teaching journey start?
Well, I would say for myself, I never imagined myself as a teacher growing up. I wanted to be a pastor, I wanted to be a pilot,
Okay.
looking up from a family where everyone is into ministry and so forth.
Yes.
I thought, I'm gonna be a pastor, pilot. I had this thing saying I'm gonna be a PP, a pastor,
Yes.
pilot.
Okay.
Then I went to high school, and then the bad connotations that were within the maths classroom. We had maths anxiety, where I saw myself also not doing so well in maths at that era of my life.
Yes.
And I remember a teacher telling us that I have a smart car, a smart husband,
Mm.
a smart board. The only damn thing is you.
Okay.
And then that from me was like, this is not how teaching should be.
Mm-hmm.
Then those perceptions of, oh, so we are dumb
Mm. Mm.
and you have everything smart out, figured out. So for me, it was like, how about creating an environment where there's less meds anxiety and
Mm.
creating a place whereby we have kids being endorsed into mathematics? Because what society are we building if we have doctors who are not confident in their math abilities?
Yes.
And that's what I led me into teaching.
That's beautiful. All right. And then let's go to your degree. Within your degree, how are you finding it within your teaching practice? How are you finding the notion behind mathematics? Because you speak about mathematics a lot.
Yeah.
The notion and the feeling behind it, the maths anxiety that we all know about. How was that now slowly being maybe introduced
Yeah.
to you? Whereas today now it's something that I
Yeah.
think you hold dear to you to say,
Yeah.
let maths not be an anxiety based subject.
Yeah. So for me, I would say before I even start, my first qualification was not even in education.
Okay, okay. What was
So
your
I
first
was I was
qualification?
I was doing events management. I was so
Okay,
much
nice.
into project management.
Yeah.
Then out of a sudden blue, I turned into education degree in 2021.
All right.
Then when I started, I loved maths, I loved science. It's always been my passion, maths and science.
Yeah.
And when I was in the classroom, seeing how teachers are doing teaching in a way that is very traditional and
Mm.
learner centered, the question I asked myself is, this is the same way I was taught.
Mm-hmm.
Something has to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't I be the caterpillar of that? Why
Yeah.
can't I stand in the gap? That's
Yes.
when I started, telling even people who were learning with me to say, guys, we have a mandate to
Mm-hmm.
change what teaching is,
Yeah.
change what we are doing in the classroom,
Mm-hmm.
because it is on us. And also I was saying to them, we are sharpening arrows of the future,
Yes.
because I believe learners are arrows.
Yes.
And I say that if we don't care how far the arrow goes, because
Mm-hmm.
that's not how I'd say, it's not on us to say
Mm-hmm.
how far the arrow goes. But we are the warriors that have to sharpen those arrows. And how far they go, it's on them.
Yes.
But we can do better in sharpening them so that
Yes.
wherever they go into those spaces, penetrate in a way that no one has ever done.
Yeah.
Or 10 steps ahead.
That's very
Yeah.
true. Okay, so now bringing us into where you are now,
Yeah.
you're a teacher now.
Yeah.
A maths teacher at that. Look at the universe
Yeah.
where your teacher used to tell you these things, and now you're in the classroom and you're the maths teacher.
Yeah.
What are the maybe misconceptions that you were dealt with at the beginning of your journey in teaching mathematics itself?
I think most of it is I was standing ground in terms of, I'm a new teacher.
Mm,
And of course, there's always that thing of an age.
yeah.
Also, and I'm young.
Hmm.
And then some parents were very hesitant to be say, yeah, he's young, he just comes in and he's teaching grade 6 and 7,
Yes.
which for them is like, you know,
Yeah, it's the big grades. The
yeah,
children are going to go to high school,
yes,
so the maths foundation needs to be from someone with experience.
exactly. So it was a bit of, and I really thank my principal who gave
Yeah.
me the opportunity and saw and believed in me, to give me such a platform to teach grade 6 and 7,
Yes.
and
As you're starting out, yeah.
yeah. And the hardest part is for me, I think also there was also something of it's a black teacher because it's
Yes.
the previous teacher was a white teacher.
Okay.
Yeah, not to say anything bad, but
Mhm.
it was a transition for both worlds to say, okay, now we have a black teacher.
Mhm.
How good can he be
Yes.
at teaching mathematics? Because it just comes from university.
Yes. Fresh out of the box.
So those
Okay.
are
The challenges you met.
challenges. Yeah,
Okay.
I've met.
All right, going now into the classroom. As teachers, I myself, I think, have experienced this as well. What we learn in our degree versus what we are met with in the classroom, from resources to the curriculum, is almost like a shock. And it's almost like, okay, how am I going to attack this, and how am I going to make this relevant, and how am I going to make sure that these children take from this, you know, not only the curriculum, but they can apply this in their everyday life. They can see how this applies in their everyday life. So how did you deal with those challenges to say, okay, now I'm in the classroom, now I'm teaching 25 odd, 30 odd, 40 odd children, and I want to grab their attention. I want to, teach beyond just what I'm given in my vicinity.
I would say it's hard
Mm.
because it's like, I believe you're thrown in the deep end.
You
The
are.
theory is not matching the
No,
practicality
it's
of
not.
it. Because I got into the class, I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
You come from a place whereby you were just sitting at the back of someone's class
Yes.
and listening
With
to
your
what they
mentor.
were
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
Now you are the one
Mm-hmm.
leading or
Mm-hmm.
captaining your own ship, and
Yes.
it's hard also to be like to just grasp
Mm.
everything.
Yeah.
So it was, for me, it was just, yeah, it was a huge adjustment and lack of resources, for
Mm-hmm.
instance. How I do things is different from the traditional way, which impact
Yes.
uh, how I'm doing the teaching, and it was hard. Some days the lesson plan is one word. I moved from having 21 pages of lesson plans for portfolios in
Mm-hmm.
university, and now you are now turning
Now
into a
you.
one
Oh,
sentence
one.
person because there's no time.
Yes.
So yeah, it was. I think it was tough
It
when it
was.
comes to that. Yeah.
All right. And then let's move into your way of teaching. So if you
Yeah.
can share with us, because for me, I always say I want young teachers or a young child who's aspiring to be a teacher to look at this video one day and say, oh, okay, that these are teachers and this is what they did and this is what they're doing, and see it as an exciting thing. So when it comes to the classroom, how did you come about with different methodologies and different ways of teaching mathematics? Because I was one of those students. I hate till this day. Hate is a strong word, but I don't like I
Yeah.
don't like maths. I don't like maths. I only got to see the realness of maths in practical life, like when you're going to buy bread and when you're coming back and all of that. So for me, only later on in life did I see the practicality of it all. But the love was not built from the classroom. I had the same teachers, I think, as you had, where I was just like, yo, this classroom, yo, we're gonna be put
Yeah.
here and we're gonna have to do algebra, we're gonna have to do all those things. So the love wasn't cultivated. And I think with the us that are in the space now, we know that from our past teachers, and we're trying to make a difference. So how have you, in your space, in your classroom, created that change, that narrative to say maths is not difficult?
So for me, I have a bold statement at the back of my class.
Mm.
It says humility,
Okay.
because everything is about the learner.
Yes.
Then I also tell them that maths allows for you to make mistakes, because mistakes allow for you to think.
Yes.
And also embracing, as you said, it's all about being practical about it. It's about those skills that we need, the critical thinking, and being able to problem solve. Because if you look at maths in our everyday lives, in engineering, in all retrospect, it's about problem solving,
Yes.
being given a scenario. So I try by almost every day to expose them to those things, to be like, this is how we're going to do it. This is how it's practically used. For instance, I take them when I teach area and perimeter. I take them to the field, to the courts, and I say, you're gonna calculate area, you're gonna calculate a perimeter of the courts, this side, and that side, so that they see that this is actually what is being used when we are building homes, or how many tiles do we need for a space. The practicality is what brings them to understand why are we learning this and why should we love math.
I like that. I like it a lot. For me, it's always it must be practical. So the example of taking them to the actual netball court and saying this is the area, this is not just looking at a textbook and looking at a rectangle and saying calculate, you know. So I like that. So there's one part of teaching now that it's almost being overtaken, not overtaken, but yeah, there's a new introduction of AI in the classroom. And I just want to get to your thoughts on it. What is your take on AI as a teaching tool and AI as an assessment tool, AI as an aid for us to bump up or to boost our teaching?
As we said, as you begin as a teacher, you realize there's a lot of administrative work that you were not taught in university.
Yeah.
And there's so much, I say our role as a teacher is like your mother, your pastor, psychologist,
Everything
and
in one.
everything. And sometimes you also have to stand in the gap. And when you go back home, you also have your own family
Yes.
that you have to stand in the gap with friends and all that. So I would say when I look at AI, it's a tool that allows for teachers to differentiate instruction and also to actually embrace the individuality of the learner and being able to see learning from the eyes of the learner, which is something that we, as teachers, I think we are still working on. But the new generation is getting there.
Yes.
Because what I've realized is we always have perceived teaching and learning as a memorization. And if we are teaching in that way, I feel like that's not correct. Teach for deep surface learning so that whenever we teach or whatever we teach, learners can create from there or create something bigger than what we teach or what the curriculum offers.
That's beautiful. And I agree. And I think what I've experienced in my personal space in terms of AI, when it was introduced to us as colleagues, I was like, "Oh, what is this? Are they trying to replace the teacher? Are they trying to put a robot in the classroom?
Yeah.
What are we actually trying to do?" And I like what you mentioned is that it's actually refining what we're doing. It's actually a way we can center the learner. The learner is the center of our work or what we do. So if we can approach them, if we can approach our children or our students at their level, they will grasp and understand things much quicker. I know there's a huge challenge that we're facing now with the old generation of teachers versus the new generation of teachers when it comes to this particular topic of AI. And it's like, no, man, Nabantwana, they can't use tablets. Why are they using tablets in the classroom? Nabantwana, they can't do their homework, on the device or whatever the case may be. What is your opinion? I'll share my opinion. My opinion is we need to look at it from a global perspective. A lot of our children, because of the lack of resources, only get to touch a laptop when they get into varsity by luck, if they do get there.
Trust me.
They only get to do a PowerPoint presentation at the age of 20 something. We hope that the stats will improve with time, but that's the reality of the economy or the space that we live in. So now that we young teachers have the opportunity to, for example, if I'm in a township school or a township setting, I can bring my iPad to school and I can say, okay, students, let's do something and let's share this device. This is how you do something. And that for them will spark, the introduction of technology and AI and all of that. But other teachers, our older teachers, we respect and love you so much.
Love
We love them so
Love
much, Kesan.
Yeah.
But how do you think we can bridge the gap, and how do you think we can make them see the good that is AI? We're not saying children should be focused on technology and only it, but there is a global competency that they need to reach to be able to compete with the learners of the world.
As I said, learning is changing. And I think one thing that was never said within our profession or to the older generation of teachers is that teaching in its nature is dynamic.
Yes.
You must learn to unlearn. It's a saying I keep to myself. I always say to myself, as a person, learn to unlearn. Because what I knew, or let's say finishing my degree, 3 years of that degree that I've done, by the time I'm done, the information is irrelevant.
Yes.
So it's important for teachers to always, embark on a journey of personal development to understand what is this AI. Don't be threatened by it. I think if you look at it, it's like a trend. When calculators came by, they said, why are we using calculators?
Yes.
When textbooks were there, they said they're going to replace teachers. But you can't
You
replace
can't.
the art of who we are and
No,
what we do.
no.
So even with AI, it's a new world that's coming.
Mm.
And that world requires us to equip those people, those young people that we love so much with those skills. So exposing them is important. Whether you are at a local school in Tembisa or somewhere too, I believe in, especially in the young teachers, brighten the corner where you are with the little that you have. Use it, expose them. They need to see the world. Because I also believe that if you see the margin of the rich and the poor in terms of South African schools, in the private space, it's more of the infrastructure.
Yes.
And in terms of obviously the government schools, it's the lack of resources. And some do have the resources. So why not utilize it? I had a friend who once said to me, at the school they had a smart board, but it was never being used. It was only opened because I had to ask and be like, can I use a smart board? And that for me tells me that we as the young generation, we must challenge and ask, where is this? Where is that? And use it. Use it. Why not?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. There's a big section here that says balance between traditional and tech. And I think that's what we're speaking of now, to say we're not completely saying out with the old and in with the new. We're just saying let's think of ways that will ignite that spark, that will be as relevant as possible, that will, engage these children even more. I love sitting on TikTok. I know many of us are TikTok addicts, but yeah, there's a lot of teachers on TikTok who are doing, beautiful, beautiful stuff. And I think the more we are out there with the digital or social footprint, the better it is, and the more normal it will become. It won't be uncomfortable anymore.
Yeah.
All right. So I also want us to speak about, or before we get to this topic, AI. If we can break down to the viewers what AI in the education space is. I'll say one where PowerPoint presentations is concerned. So instead of the normal textbook, we use PowerPoint presentations. We use video presentations. What else? What else? Just to break it down so that someone who's listening to be like, what do they mean now? AI in the classroom? What is that?
Well, AI in the classroom is very diverse. You can use it for lesson planning, which is something that many teachers struggle with. And also, that can actually help you meet the gaps that are there. Because remember, we also have a language barrier with the learners in South Africa, because they speak a lot of different languages. So imagine if you use AI to meet those different needs of those learners. So you can actually differentiate the curriculum. That means meeting the needs of the learners differently by just saying, prompting it well to say, okay, I taught this using this worksheet. How can I better equip for this lesson for learners to understand? Or saying, I don't understand this question in mathematics or in social sciences. How can I actually teach this to the learners? For instance, you teach social science. If you use a storytelling, how can you create a story to explain maybe slavery? Because that's part of the conversations in grade 6 and 7. So imagine the power that it has. It writes you a story. Or how I do it, using it and saying a song. How can I teach learners a song on Abraham Pyramid? It writes the song for me. How can I teach learners planets? And it writes a poem for you and you give the learners the poem. So it gives us a perspective of integrating subjects. And the art of that is now bringing the curriculum together so that learners don't just see this subject and that subject.
Isolated.
How it all intertwines to make this curriculum that we have as CAPS.
That's beautiful. And then when it comes to, so it's the chat GPT is now the one who you say you put in the prompts and it's, it just sort of refines your ideas for you. when it comes to assessments,
Yeah.
how have you even tried navigating that space in terms of assessing students
Yeah.
using AI? How are they using AI? How do we regulate, them cheating? Because now, obviously, the ChatGPT is now our reality.
Yes.
It's here to stay, and I think the one thing that has frightened us as teachers is that labantwana, they're not going to be thinking for themselves. They are just going to be taking things. And so, how have you, if you have been? I know for me as an essay
Yeah.
teacher, it's quickly you can quickly see if an essay has been written
Yes.
with ChatGPT because you are not using big words as a grade 7 or grade 6 student. But yeah, have you come across those challenges? How would you maybe advise teachers who want to start assessing using these platforms? What can they use? I know we have multiple choice tests, we have things like that, but what of your take in terms of the mathematics side of things? Have you tried any different platforms or anything like that?
So there are different platforms that are there. Copilot, one of them, and also Magic School. I
Okay.
think Magic School is a nice one. It
Yeah.
gives you lesson plans, it gives you a PowerPoint presentation, it also gives you quizzes.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes maybe using it as maybe an exit ticket or uh, let's say maybe to start the lesson, a lesson hook. It's important to maybe ask a question and have that the learners maybe if they're using iPad to just go onto your slides and say yes or no, have a poll there. So it helps in terms of engaging the learner because that first 5 minutes of a lesson is very important.
Yeah.
So that's the art of AI, using it maybe for those lessons and with assessments, changing to multiple choice. And because I think there's always going to be a fuss in terms of assessments because assessments, we know that it's always exams. But, I also have a different outlook on that because I believe sometimes not everyone can write
an exam in 1 hour and written, yes.
Because I have learners that I look at them and then they know what they're saying. They speak maths. They know how to do maths, but they can't express themselves on paper. So there are different ways that I'm thinking maybe we should look on how to assess, and maybe AI can come in and help us.
Yes, I love that. I love that. I think we need to highlight that part that not every learner or every student is made to be assessed in an exam setting, 1 hour time constraints, blue black pen, and you need to write all your answers and cram them in that time. There are different ways of examining students, and we need to try and move into that because I think it kills the student spirit. We've watched so many, even when we were in school, so many people who just see a fail or they can't even open their report or whatever the case may be because now they've been boxed. So I think AI as well is one of those things, but even us as teachers, we know for sure, I think we can come up with ways just to, you know, um, test such students. So one which is very close to home for me is the realities that you face as a young teacher and as a young male teacher. So I'll ask this question as is here. What it says, what's something you wish the system understood better about young professionals in education? And I want you to speak on the young male voice. I know we laugh about it all the time. I know in the first year we always looked at the class and it's like 80% or 90% of females and only 10% of males. So if you can speak on those the realities of a young professional from the male perspective in the teaching space.
I'd say we have a huge role. I always tell other fellow teachers who are male that you have a huge role to play because looking at us, we are young, and as a nation, we have a lot of learners who don't have father figures at home. And if you could see, most times when you speak or give them instructions, they listen more or they talk to you more.
They respect you guys more.
They open up more. So it's like you have that role to play to be like, be that father figure that you can be to the learners. And also understand that as young as you are, not everyone will always be a cheer leader for you or, be there and say, I'm going to help you in terms of doing this and doing that. Because one thing I've realized is that mentorship is not really there. At least with the female teachers, you can go and ask
Yeah, we
that
have
50-year-old teacher, like, "Auntie, let's talk," and then she will, nurture you and
and
help you
help
here
you
and
through your
there.
journey.
Yes.
Yeah.
But for the males, it's always a challenge
Mm.
because it can be also be perceived wrong at some point. Someone
Yes.
can mistaken your kindness for something else.
Yes. Yes.
So it's one of those challenges where you just focus on what you need to do and learn. I always say, let's create professional development communities for male teachers and female teachers where we can just come down and say, I'm struggling with this. Man, how do you teach this? How do you do that? I do that a lot, even with students who are still in varsity.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I like that you touched on the male figure in the classroom because I think it's a very big one. We have a very high stats of fatherless households in South Africa and fatherless children. And I know of even friends, who grew up idolizing that rugby coach or idolizing that male teacher to say, he played a really, really big role in my life. So I would also this as to say, male teachers, if you're a young male looking at this and thought you would never fit in the teaching world because it's predominantly female, please, there's a huge space, for males such as Karabo. All right, and then now we would like to look towards the school itself.
Yeah.
And this, obviously, we shy away from these conversations because we know it's still the journey is long.
Yeah.
The journey is long for us to say all schools in South Africa will have laptops. All schools in South Africa will have, an adjusted classroom where a classroom won't be of 30 or 50 or 40 students. Every classroom will be now kept to 25. There will be enough teachers. The journey is very, very long.
Yeah.
But where do you think we can start when you see yourself in this whole economy of education? Where do you think we can start in sort of maybe rectifying some of the things we've spoken about just today?
Create your own resources. I always say we can't always wait for things to be given unto us. How about you try yourself and create things? I'm one person. I've been put into schools where there's no ICTC, and all I had to do is create a poster, show them what needs to be shown.
Yes.
I used to have a laser pointer and show them, and it is fun. Have it, as I said, practical, and it's more knowledgeable. Unlike just reading the textbook, sometimes even the learners themselves, they're like, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
But if you
Yeah.
expose it to them, show it to them, activate their schemata to say, this is what we are learning. It empowers them also to be motivated. After all, as you said, we focus on TikTok. So that means that even the PowerPoints that we are using are going to be irrelevant.
Yes, at some point, true.
So now that means that we must always come up with ways of
Being
teaching and
innovative.
engaging them. And AI is one of those things that we must make use of to engage the learner. Not to say we're going to embrace them, but think about it. An English essay. As a learner, I think of myself when I was writing an English essay, they said I must edit and whatever. But imagine if we had those opportunities to put our essay in that AI to say, edit this, do this for me. And it edits your grammar and spelling, or to see the feedback, because it gives you feedback immediately. So learners can use that to actually upskill their learning.
Yeah.
Because I think one of the things that I've learned with AI, so I'm also sorry to divert a bit, I'm also a writing center consultant for 3 years now.
Okay.
So I still work with university. I can see when they use AI.
Yes.
And I also advocate for them to say, use AI in a way that, it is, so they have to actually now say they're using AI. So when they're writing assessment or assignments. But I advise them, use the AI for better feedback, because it can give you feedback that a teacher cannot.
Yes.
Because not all teachers can actually look at a sentence and give you all the feedback, but it is a tool that we can use. Imagine as an English teacher when you started and you used AI to mark. It's more accurate.
It's more accurate, yeah.
So the power of it is that we have a tool that we can use to improve how we get feedback to the learners and themselves learn.
Yes.
Because learning is also a self journey for the learner.
Yes.
Okay.
And to our colleagues, what would you say? I know you mentioned we need to empower ourselves, so we need to think of innovative ways to teach. But maybe how can we maybe encourage each other? I'm a very big fan of groups.
Yeah.
I'm a very big fan of meetings, of conferences, and all of
Yes.
these things where we can speak, have these conversations such as we're having on this podcast, share ideas and say, okay, how can we better, the situation? Because I think to sit and wait on government, it's one of those things where we see what's happening in the country right now. But what can we do? Let's figure out as teachers, maybe we can go and approach Apple, and say, Apple, we are a group of teachers. This is what we want to do. Can you donate to us 15 iPads that we can circulate in our school? Can you donate to us, laptops or sound or whatever the case may be to uplift our schools? I think we wait so much on government when we do have the voices. We are able-bodied. We can go out there and ask for the help that's needed.
All I can say is your voice is your masterpiece. Why not use it to better what you're doing?
Definitely.
And also, if you look at Apple, there is iSchool Africa. I was part of the program itself. I didn't have to pay for anything.
See,
Where I was learning coding and robotics.
You see?
So I did a bit of coding as a beginning teacher, coding and robotics. So they are there, these programs. But we need to step into it.
Definitely.
And get to learn what is happening here, what is happening there. I'm one person, I'm always there. If there's a conference,
Yes.
I check on LinkedIn.
Let's go.
I'm going to those conferences to educate myself, but also knowing that it will help me better what I do. Because I said we are learning to unlearn, teaching in dynamic. So you must always upskill yourself to learn what is in there. There are new things that we are using, like sandboxes. There are new tools that are there, that we must use to assess Kahoots and all. And some of them are becoming irrelevant. And half the time, teachers don't even know about
They
that.
haven't even touched it.
Yeah, it's not even Mentimeter. I remember mentioning Mentimeter, and
it was like, huh?
what is that? That's an interactive. So imagine you are teaching Mentimeter. The feedback is there. You can see what they're understanding and what they're not understanding. It also helps you because assessments are there to also make you a better teacher.
And what do you think of? Because we're talking like this, and I'm putting myself in my like school in my classroom, and I know a lot of my colleagues would be like, "Yo, but it's a lot. It's a lot to take in. We're constantly now having to be trained. We're constantly now having to relearn. We constantly and a lot. The sad truth is that a lot of us have either fallen out or fallen demotivated because it's like it's just too much. Yeah, what do you have to say to that teacher? I'm thinking of that. I'm like, there are so many who will be like, Nyanizwa ni busy. AI, this PowerPoint, this Kahoot, this, and. But there's no time. We are overwhelmed. It's admin. It's a lot of children in the classroom, and I'm only one teacher.
Yeah. But as I said, that's why we have these tools.
Yes.
Use it to break down. For instance, you can basically break down how your lesson planning using AI. You can basically say, this is one I want to try out. Because I know for a fact, we always talk about these teaching strategies and all that, but they don't actually work in practicality.
In real life.
Yeah, they don't actually work. So it's all about using it to ease the load. And I know it's tough. It's a lot. It's a lot. Being a teacher is a lot because there's a report. There's also parent engagement that is there because we are the three pillars. And you also have to do what the school management is requiring of you. So it's also a lot. And I get it. But here are the tools to actually help us ease the load. So why not use it?
True. And I think I want to take this opportunity to say, I don't know if I can put it out there, but it's something we're thinking about. Let's create those communities.
Yes.
If it's a WhatsApp group, if it's a Facebook group where we are not just maybe sharing posts. I know there's a lot of those groups where we share posts, if you're looking for a job, but let's have a group where we share ideas, where we share tips, where we share best practice, where we share, each other's. Because I think what we're lacking a lot as well, besides the many other things we can speak about and complain about, is the support and the mentorship and the guidance and, two brains are better than one, 2 ears are better than, 4 ears are better than one. So I think that's something I also would like to, just from this conversation that I'm having with you, to say, you know what, let us be those people. If you can start a group, I start a group. Let's have one group on LinkedIn, teachers, I don't know, teachers something, and where we can talk and share ideas and try and find solutions to the world that we're in, because yeah, some of us don't want to leave
Yeah.
yet. We're still waiting to see what we
Do
can
more.
do. Yes, definitely.
And I think it's one of the things I've always stood for. So, um, in my previous year, last year, I was a student head of education for the whole faculty. And what I did was I was trying to create those professional development societies.
Yes.
We had a week where it was 1 week doing different events for different years, exposing them to say, hey, there's more. There's a social side to education where we have to have fun. The learners
Yes,
have to wear characters. You can't always be in the
can't
classroom.
always be.
There's those social acts and there's those sports and whatever. So I was trying to expose them to those different kind of things because we just think you just go and teach and that's it.
No.
Then you get there and you're like, oh,
I need
4
to be
days
on
a
the
week.
field. I need to do this. I need to
have
go
to
on
play
camp.
cricket. I have to be a choir master. Now I'm talking about me. I have to be a soccer coach. Never coached before,
But I'm
I
there.
have to do it because it's part of the job.
Part
So
of the job.
imagine if we had those professional development communities. And I think
I love that.
I've talked about this, and it's something that I wanted to implement. Spoke with it with another lecturer from UJ, Farana, who was like, we have to talk about it, but she's still doing her PhD, so we hardly both have time. So it's one of the things that we need to do, creating those resources, sharing them with each other. That's the art of teaching, Always say you can't hide what you're doing and say they must learn on themselves by themselves. You must learn from each other because somewhere, somehow, I had to learn from someone.
That's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you. And then I think the last one, what's your professional or personal dream, sorry, for South African education?
I want to see us dominating mathematically, scientifically, and also, improving our levels. And I can see the education, we can complain a lot about it, but there are places where they're improving, without even the technology. There's 100% pass rate and all that. So I believe, I just believe in a South Africa where every child has an access to those technological resources so that even when they go to varsity, it's not a chance match or a shock. I remember as a writing center consultant, this one time I sat with this other student who couldn't even reference or doesn't understand referencing or even know how to structure a sentence. So I had to go and be in a grade 3 lesson and I didn't even plan for it. I had to just go back and be like, okay, this is how you write a sentence, this is how you put a verb. And that shattered me because this person went to 12 years of schooling and then they go to varsity and then they're unable to even answer questions. And I think that moment told me that there's still a lot that needs to be done.
Yeah, there's a lot.
So let's make it a quality for everyone.
Yeah.
My belief is whatever we are doing as teachers, let's continue doing it and do it to empower the next generation. We imagine you and me, they're retiring, and then we have a doctor who doesn't know how to do maths or anything. How that life threatening that would be.
For
Or
us,
having a cashier there who doesn't know what decimals are.
Yes.
So I think we should say we have an important role because the
Very.
people that we are actually teaching,
Very.
people who are going to take care of us.
Yes. And they're
And
going to change the world.
they-
They're the pioneers of the world. I
They
tell
are
my
leaders.
students, yes, I tell my students all the time that the problems we are facing now, I'm so sorry, but you guys are going to be the ones.
Have to solve them.
You're going to have to solve them because, yeah, you guys are going to be the future of the world. So,
Future president,
yes.
future CEOs. So imagine just walking around and be like, that's my student in a Ferrari. That's that.
How fulfilling that would be. Yeah, but thank you. Thank you so much, Karabo, for being the light that you are. Thank you for being the force that you are and the little that you're doing. I think just everything that you've spoken about shows your passion, shows the impact that you're trying to make. And yeah, I think it will echo for years and years to come to say, you know what, the little that you're doing in your classroom will go on for years to come, and other teachers and other students will look at this and be like, that's my teacher. That's my sir there, and he taught me this and I was able to move on in life and do ABCD. So I really, really, really appreciate your presence. And yeah, to our listeners, thank you for tuning in again. Please don't forget to do your homework, okay? Like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to do your homework, please. And yeah, you'll join us in the next conversation soon. For now, I'm your host, Pelisa Mugavazi. Until next time, we are teaching, and this is Teachers Talk.